Hey, what's up everybody? So this is probably going to be a longer video, so if that's not your cup of tea, I would suggest not watching. I guess, I'm gonna lay out what I'm gonna talk about in this video, so if it sounds interesting, stick around. If not, like I said, it might not be your cup of tea. I've been meaning to make this video for quite a while, but because of my depression, I've not really been in a great video making mood, and I've been making more of the video journals. But I'm been in a pretty good, this has been a good week. So I figured, I wanted to make, and I've talked about this in my, milestone videos. I do want to make more videos talking about my experience with nitrous oxide, especially the mental health effects it had and how that affected my behavior, my actions, and yeah, just to share. Well, it's interesting too, because so what I'm going to be talking about is something called ideas of reference. When I was in nursing school, I've heard this when I was doing the psych quarter, which was my favorite quarter, by the way. I ended up working in psychiatry or behavioral health nursing. So what ideas of reference are I think there's a little different. It's not quite fully delusional, because I was refreshing my mind on this. Apparently there's ideas of reference and delusions of reference. Ideas of reference are more transient cognitive distortions, or cognitive distorted thought process of there being hidden meaning or messages, or just something, like, for example, especially with me, a lot of my ideas of reference were about lyrics and songs, but there would also be weird coincidences that would happen, and I felt like it meant to convey something to me, like it was significant. Even looking back, it's like, no, it probably wasn't. Even though to this day I'm still not fully sure. I still question everything I went through with my experience with abuse and all of that nitrous oxide. And a lot of what I'm going to talk about is kind of what fueled a lot of my abuse. The nitrous oxide, I originally started abusing for fun, and then it was something to cope with depression and anxiety, especially a bunch of stress from work. And as I became manic and then psychotic, and started having delusions, grandiose delusions, hyper religious delusions, these ideas of reference, and I would say it was, I guess from what I looked up, more of a delusions of reference, although I'm going to title this video with ideas of reference. And once it had gotten to that point, that's what fueled me to abuse a ridiculous amount of nitrous oxide until I ran out of money, essentially. And I burned through tens of thousands of dollars of money in the course of 3.5 months. So I'm really surprised. I'm honestly surprised I'm not permanently disabled, physically disabled, as I've talked about. After abusing all that nitrous oxide, I did experience some pretty significant nerve damage, to the point of not being able to walk or stand for several weeks, followed by a very slow physical recovery. It took me about 18 months to get to what I call 99% normal. It's essentially a new normal. I'm pretty much normal, but if there was quantitative data, it would be lesser. My abilities would be lesser now than it was before the abuse, if that makes sense. So that's what fueled a lot. At that point, it wasn't even fun. It wasn't even enjoyable. I mean, there would be times that I would vomit after getting home, after going to the store and buying a bunch more nitrous and setting it down on my desk. my body would like involuntarily vomit because it knew like we were going to keep poisoning ourselves with this craziness. So I'm going to be all over the place in this video, but I mean, if you've watched my content, you know this is kind of how I am. I wish I was more coherent and linear, but this is just how my mind works. But like I was saying, so other ideas of reference, like let's say someone's walking by a group of people and the group of people are laughing, they might have the idea or the thought that that group of people is laughing specifically at them. Like I said, for me, most of mine were lyrics in songs, and at the height, well, actually, just before I started heavily abusing the nitrous oxide, I started listening to a lot of Logic's music. He's a rapper. I love him. I think he's a fantastic rapper. Seems like a pretty cool dude too. And I would pretty much always listen to music as I would abuse the nitrous oxide, because it added to the experience. And again, once I was kind of going into that mania and psychosis, it played a huge role in reinforcing or driving further use, even though it was not even enjoyable. Like, it wasn't even for the sake of getting high. It was because I thought I was on this secret quest, or I was finding out all of this secret information. And I kind of wrote out or typed out some examples of the ideas of reference that I got from some of his songs, and I'll explain why they were ideas of reference. Of course, there's other songs of his that, if I took a little more time, I don't want to make this a 2-hour long video. I probably can make this a 2-hour long video if I thought of and wrote down every single example of ideas of reference. It was that many. It was crazy. It was crazy. I was literally crazy. I was very, the mania was really bad, and then the psychosis and paranoia was really bad. Just tons of delusions. So again, for me, it was more delusions of reference. Even though I guess the other thing with ideas of reference apparently is you can kind of more rationally think your way out of them, whereas with delusions of reference, it's more of a fixed, permanent belief. That's not just something you can be oh, well, maybe I'm just looking too far into it. So I'd say maybe I was in between. And it was just really bad. It was super bad. I guess one of the reasons why I'm making this video is to, I don't know, just provide some more, because I've never talked about this aspect. Well, I might have hinted at some of the delusions that I had in my way earlier videos, but I don't think I've really talked about ideas of reference explicitly. So that's why I wanted to make this video. And, so that way it's anyone that has, abused nitrous oxide might be able to relate and be oh, wow, I've been experiencing that, or I have experienced that. Or someone that is interested in using nitrous oxide might be oh, wow, that sounds I'm not interested in that. That's crazy as hell. Or just some people that are just interested, just hearing about someone's experience, sometimes it's just interesting. So, I'm just trying to make sure I kind of cover my bases here. So, yeah, I guess that's kind of about it. So, ideas of reference, to recap, thinking there's secret messages or some sort of significance to, things in your environment that there isn't any significance or any meaning meant specifically for you. But someone experiencing ideas reference believe that's the case. So for me, two of the main albums I listened to of Logic's that really affected or like played into the ideas of reference was Under Pressure and Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. Under Pressure was because, well, just the title alone was because, you know, with the nitrous oxide, it was under pressure, like it was a pressurized gas. So that alone was just like, oh, coincidence, like, oh, you know, there's like secret hidden meaning in this album. And honestly, it's kind of, as I was doing a little prep work for this video, I was thinking, this is gonna sound so silly and so ridiculous, but I do have to emphasize, in the moment, like, this was like life-changing for me. Like, this took priority over anything else. It took priority over my job, took priority over my finances. You know, I would spend, well, I did spend all my money just to chase these ideas of reference and chase these delusions and go further down the rabbit hole. Even though, again, there's just like no positive aspect. I wish I was able to, I really wish I was able to articulate or explain better. I'm sure those that have abused nitrous oxide and had similar experiences, you know exactly what I'm talking about. You know, I guess it depends on how much nitrous oxide you abuse, because it starts off recreational and fun, but then it just turns into this just delusional, crazy mess. So, Under Pressure, again, with the title, nitrous oxide is under pressure. And then Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, I thought that I had all of this secret divine knowledge. Every time I would finish my session of nitrous oxide and come down, like, it always was like I had these great epiphanies and like this great knowledge, this divine knowledge, you know, peeking behind the veil of like mortality. But then right as I finished and kind of started coming down, lost it, like, boom. But it's like, but I knew like I had some sort of secret knowledge. And so that's also what fueled a lot of my use. So I would go and buy anywhere from like 300 to 500. I was, so I guess I'm more old school. Back when I was abusing the nitrous oxide in like 2019 and 2020, I'm sure Galaxy Gas was around and stuff like that, but it wasn't as prevalent. And so I was abusing the 8-gram small cartridges of nitrous oxide. And I'm explaining this because it does come into play with some of the other ideas of reference. So yeah, a little cartridge. I wish I could look up the image. Well, actually, hold on a second. I'm sorry, I should have prepared myself for this, but this shouldn't take too long. But it was an 8-gram cartridge of nitrous oxide. It's the stuff that they use to load into whipped cream dispensers to whip the cream. Cartridge. I should be able to find this relatively quickly. This is my old iPhone. No, dude, I don't care. Google, I don't care, dude. Google's like telling me, oh, this stupid, okay, here we go. Oh my gosh, dude. I don't care, Google. Piss off, dude. It's like turn on web and activity. I don't care. Stop. Oh my. And I would use my actual phone. Oh my god, Google, stop, dude. Like, look, it won't let me freaking... I swear to God. There we go. I wish I had one for demonstration purposes. Well, there's, I don't know which one. I guess I'll pick this one because it kind of shows them in size context. So, and they're kind of the same cartridges that the CO2 cartridges that you would put in a BB gun. So they're not super big. It's not like those big things of Galaxy Gas. So with these, and they would be different colors or shapes. The more cheaper generic brands would be like the silver, and this kind of comes into play too with the ideas for reference. There's like levels to this. There's a lot of levels to this. So that's why I wanted to make this video. Because again, I still question. I'm like, was there like something else going on, or like was I just crazy? But a lot of them were silver like this. But the Whippet brand ones would be green, and they have like pink ones and blue ones that had Whippet on it. But yeah, so with those, just for, I guess, more context, there's two ways you can use them. You can do a hand cracker, which like you put a balloon on, and there's like two pieces, and you put the cartridge in there, and then it punctures the cartridge and it fills the balloon up. Whipped cream dispensers, you know, it's like, well, I'm sure you've seen, but oh yeah, perfect. Oh, there we go. No, dude. So those things, I'm sure you've seen them if you go to Starbucks or something, or like Dutch Bros. So what you do is normally you would put whipped cream in this cylinder and then twist the top on, and then right there you would put the cartridge like in the tube thing, and then twist it into the dispenser, and then it would puncture it, and the nitrous oxide would go in the dispenser. And because there's heavy cream in there, or whipping cream, once you pull this trigger, it aerosolizes, or you know, you have whipped cream. But if you are abusing them like me, you do that process, but you don't put any whipping cream in the dispenser. You just leave it empty. Crack it in there, and then you put the nozzle into your mouth and rinse and repeat. And I would, dude, again, I don't know how I'm not dead, or how I'm not like permanently disabled. I would do them back to back to back to back to back to back to back until I finished all 300 or 500 in a session. And I would do that multiple times a day. Because like I was saying, I would come down and lose that divine knowledge. So I would like want to go to the store immediately afterwards and go and buy like another 300 to 500. And I would do that several times a day, every day, for several weeks. Well, a few months, but there was like a few weeks where it was that like I had the heaviest amount of my binge. And so I would try to maximize the effect. I would try to breathe in regular air as little as possible, and try to exhale as little nitrous oxide in my lungs as I could. So I think this might be bro science, but I feel like I was kind of like pressurizing my lungs, because you can cram a lot of nitrous oxide into your body. It's like because it's compressed, it's cold, so it's very dense. And yeah, so I would just like, and as I was holding it in, untwist, get the cartridge out, put another one, twist. And so I would like be in front of my computer and listen to music. And that would be the whole process. And I would eventually just get higher and higher and higher, and then like just break into a whole new reality. Again, it's like it's so hard to articulate or describe properly unless you actually experience it yourself. So So where am I going with that? My brain's certainly not as good as it used to be. Well, I guess so. Yeah, I was just saying, like, the under pressure. So the whole thing was pressure. Like the cartridges were pressurized, the dispenser got pressurized, and then as I was inhaling it, my like lungs and my body was like pressurized. So Logic's album Under Pressure. Oh, I was explaining. Okay, well that ties more into the Under Pressure, but I remember now. Sorry. So the Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. So that was significant for me because I thought I had this dangerous mind because I had all this like divine secret knowledge, and I was considered like a threat because gods or spirit, like I had like taken that knowledge or something from gods or spirits or something like that, from a different reality that I wasn't supposed to have until like we die and like pass on to the other realm. So it was like by doing so much nitrous, I kind of crossed that barrier into a different realm or reality, or whatever you want to call it, and like had like again just like this dangerous knowledge that like and a lot of it was paranoia. Like, so I thought it was dangerous because if I believe that there were people out there trying to get me. I don't know who exactly. It was an ambiguous, nebulous threat, but I believe that people wanted me captured and like people wanted me dead because again I had that knowledge. So that's why it was like my mind was dangerous. And if you see my YouTube channel, I named my YouTube channel Confessions from a Dangerous Mind. So inspired by Logic's album Confessions of a Dangerous Mind. So yeah, so that's the significance with those two albums. And then with, again, this is going to sound so silly, but feel free to laugh at me or like laugh to yourself, like please try to be nice in the comments, but if you want to like make fun of me, that's fine. I can roll with the punches. But one of his songs on Confessions of a Dangerous Mind was titled Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, and some of the lyrics go, did not have a plan, don't know who I am or who I'm becoming, but I'ma do me to the fullest, alright, busting and dodging them bullets all night. So again, those silver things like bullets. I know, and that's like such a loose connection, but that's just I'm going through these just to show you like how significantly this changed my thought process, and because of that changed my actions so much. So bust them, dodging the bullets all night, especially I would use a lot of nitrous throughout the night. So bullets, nighttime. And then I think it's in one of his chorus, he says, Novocaine to the brain, I can't feel nothing, no mo. In my lane, can't refrain from letting these people know. So Novocaine to the brain, nitrous oxide is an anesthetic, an analgesic, a dissociative, so it can relieve pain. So Novocaine, you get that. The dentist helps with numb you and prevent you from feeling pain. So the nitrous oxide was Novocaine to the brain. And I couldn't feel, like, I would be so dissociative, I couldn't feel nothing no more. And then the in my lane, can't refrain from letting these people know. A big chunk of why I lost my nursing job was because I had told a coworker of mine about my abuse of the nitrous oxide and shared my delusional thoughts with her, and then she went and told my boss, which got me in trouble. So that became significant after I lost my job. Let's see here. So also on Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, there's another song, Limitless. There's a part where he says, now they all know who I am, now they all know who I am. And for me, my idea of reference on that was tied into the people that I thought was going to kill me or kidnap me, like agents of the other world, or forces of the other world. I felt they were alerted to the fact that I had done something a human is not supposed to do, like a mortal being's not supposed to do, and I had this secret knowledge, and so they're going to come get me, and they knew who I was because like I had been exposed. So that, man, there's so much to get into. I'm going to try to, there's so much to get into. Maybe I'll have to do like a part 2 and a part 3, but I'll get what I can. This played into a lot of my delusions and altered behavior. August and September of 2019, I had gotten in trouble at work, but I hadn't lost my job. But I was acting very bizarrely at work, not enough to the point to like be like not safe or, you know, like super concerned, but definitely not normal. And that's because I was also listening to this then, and I thought like, you know, they might find me at my work because they knew who I was. And then he has another song on Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, Out of Sight. So for that one, it was like telling me to be out of sight, to like hide myself, keep myself, you know, out of sight of those threats. So stupid, dude. And then I'll go through a few on Under Pressure, but there's like so many more. I think it's Young Sinatra 4 on the album Young Sinatra 4. So there's the song YS4 and then the album YS4, I think, or mixtape or whatever. And there's a part where he says, why can't we, I think it's the song, why can't we stop and listen, stop spending our money on things that glisten? And so that was also an idea of reference for me because, like I showed you earlier, those metal, they were shiny metal cartridges, many of them, because I would buy like the cheaper brand. So, you know, it was like the song was trying to tell me to stop spending my money on those things that glisten. And it's like, I know he's talking about like jewelry and like gold and stuff like that, but it's just interesting how our minds could just be so warped. But I didn't write that one down. That just kind of came to mind. But so in Under Pressure, there's a song called Gang Related, and there's one line in there, bullet to the dome like in a leave. And again, that bullet. So bullet to the dome, that's what I was doing, you know, like, well, oh no. Hopefully that doesn't get me in trouble. That's a dispenser algorithm. I swear to God, that was not a weapon. Oh no. Because also, with my teeth, see how they're so chipped? My front ones? Because I would bite down on the nozzle and then wrap my lips around it so I can get as tight of a seal and get all the nitrous in me. Oh, jeez, I hope that doesn't... if this gets freaking censored or deleted or muted, I'm going to be really mad after going through all this. Well, whatever. We'll see. I doubt it will, but that just made me kind of laugh. But yeah, so bullet to the dome like in a leave. So those bullets to the dome, a leave. God, I need to stop doing that. Okay, let's move to the next one so I don't get myself in trouble. There's another song called I'm Gone, and, you know, like, that's how I felt a lot of the time. Like, I was gone, like, from my body. I was, like, dissociated. And this also ties into the paranoia and, like, threats or worry about me being killed. And also kind of reinforced the idea of, like, why all of these songs and this music was an idea of reference, or, like, which were secret messages. So he says, I feel like my mind gone, but I'm still here. Don't F around because they kill here. This music, it kill fear. I use it when I need to hear. So, I'm really curious, like, for anyone watching this or everyone watching this, let me know what you think in the comments. I should have said that in the beginning. I would love to hear people's comments if anyone has taken the time to watch all of this. Let me know what you think. Like, do you think, like, okay, I can kind of see, like, how, or if that's, like, totally off base and you're just like, what the heck were you thinking? Yeah, let me know. I'm just curious. And then one last one, and again, there's like so many other songs of his, and there's other songs from like other artists, but I just wanted to give you guys kind of an idea of the ideas of reference I experienced. And this is just with lyrics in songs and music. So maybe I will make a part 2 and like think of some ideas of reference, because there's stuff that were like coincidences that happened that were almost certainly not related to me and my like crazy experience, like distorted reality with Nitrous, but still like I thought it was. And even looking back, it's still like maybe it was. I really don't know. Like, but yeah. So this will be the last one. So this is in a song that is titled Under Pressure. So it's the album Under Pressure, and then the song is Under Pressure. And he says, futuristic, so simplistic, please decipher my linguistics. Slow it down, Robitussin. And back when I was younger, I would abuse a lot of Robitussin. Like the stuff you buy in the store. The stuff that has dextromethorphan or DXM. Not the stuff, not codeine, not the Robitussin. I think it's CR or whatever. The stuff with codeine that they make lean with. Not that Robitussin. But I'd abuse a lot of like the Robitussin from the store, so that also like played into it. And so slow down, Robitussin. I'm the king, ain't no discussion. Like I said earlier, I did have a lot of grandiose thoughts. Like I was now this like incredibly important figure because I had all the secret knowledge, possibly almost like godly status. So I'm the king. Ain't no discussion. And now we blowing up like spontaneous human combustion. So kind of also with that pressure, like I had some delusions or like paranoia that my body and my lungs had retained a lot of that nitrous and that pressure, and like eventually it was going to explode. So that also idea of reference. So now we blowing up like spontaneous human combustion. Yeah, I stress up, but I'm blessed up. F around and get messed up. When I'm murdering the rhyme, I'm living divine. So again, that divinity. And, you know, I was, like I said earlier as well, you know, I was abusing a lot of nitrous oxide, at least in like the middle stages, because of my stress from work. And I did still feel like kind of blessed, or like that ties into the divinity as well. So yeah, I'm glad I made this video. Hopefully this was cogent or coherent enough. Also, I feel bad, like, someone left a comment on one of my YouTube videos. It was like the detoxing from 7OH. And they said, they were like, oh God, it's so unbearable. And I'm like, you don't have to watch, like, you don't have to watch my videos, dude. I'm sorry I say and like, that's just how I am. I thank them for their feedback, though. I mean, it's nice to get, you know, I'm open to constructive criticism, but that's not something that is going to be an easy habit to break out of, if at all. Again, you know, I do recognize my limitations or the changes to my brain and my body from so much nitrous oxide. The fact that I'm alive, though, is miraculous. And to be this functional, seriously, when I say I abused a lot of nitrous oxide, like it was a lot. So between the vitamin B12 inactivation, which led to the nerve damage, and the deprivation of oxygen, spent in lengthy periods of time without much oxygen, and also just like all the gunk that was in those cartridges, like the machine oil and bits of like microscopic metal that is like this metal sludge. It was so disgusting. It tasted so gross. Yeah, I'm happy with how I am. So I apologize, you know, if my videos aren't, you know, articulated extremely well, and don't necessarily follow a full linear thought process, but I feel like it's kind of circumstantial. I sometimes go on tangents and then it wraps back into what I was saying. So I know I don't need to apologize, but still, I don't know. I want to give everyone the best viewing experience, but I want it to be raw too. I want it to like just be genuine. I don't want to like edit my videos, and I'll be honest, my main motivation is laziness and ineptitude. I don't really know how to edit, and even if I did, I don't think I would want to spend the time to do it. But yeah, also just genuine, like this is just who I am, you know, unfiltered. I'm not gonna edit a video and make myself perfect and everything I say perfect. So yeah, hopefully all of that was interesting. Again, I would really love to hear everyone's comments on, you know, those that have abused nitrous or are abusing nitrous, and you can relate. Let me know, share what your experiences are, you know, if you feel comfortable in the comments. For those that haven't had any experience with nitrous oxide or limited experience, let me know what you think. Like, do you think some of those ideas of reference and honestly kind of more delusions of reference, do you feel you can kind of see some connection there? Or was my brain like totally off base? Like, I'm curious to see what people think of that. And let me know if you like this also in the comments, or thought this was interesting. I'll try to do more content like this that helps motivate me to make videos like this. And you know, if you did like the video, please hit the like button. That helps grow this channel and spread this video more, so I can share my experiences and maybe provide some enlightenment to some people and be like, wow, that's crazy as hell, and I don't want to do that. Like, yeah, you know, I kind of like my sanity, and I like my money, and I like my ability to walk. So yeah, you know, hit the like button, and if you're not already, you know, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel and following me on TikTok, or following me on TikTok. Like, you don't have to do both, but depending on what you're watching, because I post most of these videos to both, just to kind of cover my bases. So yeah, let me know what you thought. I'm glad I was able to make this video and kind of share my experiences with you. Just a little glimpse into the dangerous mind that I have. You know, these are my confessions from a dangerous mind. You know, tying that back into my YouTube channel and my ideas of reference. So yeah, maybe I'll make a part 2 or make something related to this, but I would like if possible feedback, or let me know what you guys think, and I'll go from there. So thank you everyone for watching. I will see you guys next time.